Never speak in absolutes. Meaning, let's say you and I are in a conversation. You never want to put pressure on someone by asking an absolute question, such as, what is your favorite band? What is your favorite sports team? What is your favorite movie? Have you noticed just right now, when I ask you this, it causes you to pause, reflect, think back, assess memories. What is my number one? And all of this kills the conversation flow between us, right? This is more apparent in maybe a first date or initial conversations with someone you just met, where you want to keep things, for the most part, casual, simple. Your goal as somebody that wants to improve your conversational skills is making it easier for the other person to participate in the conversation with you. I'm not saying you should never ask absolutes ever, never, never, never. But if you have a pattern of thinking that, oh, I'll just ask this person what their favorite this is and their favorite this is and their best this. People want to be honest with you. They want to give the correct answer, but it's so much pressure in this one question that it causes a lot of people to freeze. And as somebody like you that wants to improve your confidence when it comes to social skills and communication, that's not something you want to ask right off the bat. And maybe something you can get into later in a different type of setting, calmer, second, third date. Maybe you hang out with a friend. This is like your weekly coffee meetup, and this is the fourth time you guys are doing it. And then, so the setting matters. That's key. But also, let's just do a little role play here, okay? So let's just say, for example, I ask you, hey, what's your favorite band? And you're like, I don't know. What's yours? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm asking you. Do you just see how stupid that conversation went? It's because I put pressure on you. It's almost like, do you remember the days when you were in school? Maybe some of you are still in school, but I'm talking like elementary days when the teacher would call on you on class and you'd be like, oh shit, I gotta come up with an answer to this question. It's almost very similar to that feeling. Again, we just did a little role play here, so maybe you felt that, but I think you get where I'm going with this. When you put pressure on people, similar to how a teacher does when they call on a student, it doesn't help have that water attribute, river flowing characteristic of good quality conversations and banter and back and forth, because you're asking an absolute question. Anything that has to do with what's the best this, what's the worst this, so on and so forth. Absolutes, I would highly recommend you try to steer away from them. Again, if this is something you're trying to improve in your own life. Remember, your goal as somebody that's trying to be an excellent communicator, or just somebody that's trying to be better at social skills, your confidence with the social skills, you want to make it easy for the other person to participate, to have a back and forth, to enjoy the dialogue. Again, romantic, on a date, on a second date, on a third date, or platonic scenarios. Maybe it's with a homie, co-working event, a co-worker meetup, lunch with your boss. I have no idea. To make things easy, avoid asking absolutes if that's your goal. If your goal is to become excellent at the back and forth. Again, I want to reiterate this. I'm not saying you should never. Here you go. I'm giving you an absolute right now. I'm not saying you should never use them, but the point of the matter is you want people to associate you with positivity when it comes to social environments. If you're somebody that's all here, actually, you know what? I got the fucking perfect analogy for you. If you hang out with someone and that someone always talks about politics, eventually you're going to start recognizing that pattern. And, again, for the most part, talk about whatever you want. But politics tends to bring in a lot of tense feelings in the conversation, doesn't it? Right? When someone's talking about who'd you vote for, what do you think about this policy, so on and so forth. So that's like never using absolutes on steroids, pretty much, because you're bringing in a very polarizing topic. But it's not that much different than asking an absolute question, because it puts somebody on the spot. They have to think very critically, very hard. They have to assess, okay, what's my favorite meal? Where I really like Chinese, but I'm Iranian and I really like Iranian food, but then I also really like Italian food. And fuck, you know what? I don't know. What's your favorite meal? And then you're gonna be like, well, I don't know. I asked you, and I'm like, well, I don't know either. Where did we go with that conversation? Right? And if this is your first time meeting me and you ask something like that, I'm gonna be like, eee. Not that there's anything wrong or negative or bad necessarily. I'm just gonna be like, oh, this guy or girl isn't very familiar with maybe the back and forth conversations and how to prevent them from stalling, which is your goal. How do I prevent conversations from just stalling and no one saying shit? Avoid the absolutes. Okay. Now, I don't want to get into the political side of things when it comes to having political conversations. I'm just showing you that's a similar type of environment where it's a sensitive topic. It's a difficult question to answer for many, especially if the question you're posing is a little bit hard to answer with a simple, 1-2 word answer. So stay away from absolutes. Again, I'm very aware that you, somebody that's intelligent like you don't like to have small talk. You don't like to do the, hey, how's it going? How's the weather? What'd you do? I completely understand that. Don't get me wrong. I'm well aware of that. But that's kind of necessary in the beginning. It's just is. It's like a dance, right? It's like you gotta gradually get into the deeper conversations, the absolute questions, the political conversations. So what I would recommend if you want to work on this, action step number 1, don't use absolutes. Do your best to just not use absolutes in conversations and watch how much better conversations start to flow. And you'll also start saying when people use absolutes with you. Again, this is it's almost like a misconception where people believe that if they ask absolutes, those are good quality questions. No, that's a shitty quality question. That's not a good question. Because it makes people stall. Let's use a dating scenario. If you're on a date with someone that you don't know, everybody is assessing everybody, right? Right away in the beginning. Your movements, whether you're checking your phone, did you brush your teeth? Did you do he? And so you don't want to put yourself in a position where I'm assuming that you're a man and the person you want to date is a woman, where she feels like, hey, this guy, he's cute, he's got a lot going for himself, but I didn't feel a connection. I didn't feel a connection. That connection sometimes can mean I didn't feel a conversational flow with the other person. So you see how this is a lot bigger than you may think? Of course, again, there are exceptions. I'm trying to generalize this advice so that you kind of have a framework for when you leave or you're done watching, like, okay, cool. I don't use absolutes. That's number 1. Number 2, from now on, when I go into conversations, regardless of who I talk to, one of my primary goals is how can I make it easy for the other person to participate in the conversation? And then action step number 3, now that you know about absolutes and what they do to conversational flow, I want you to start being on the lookout for these type of questions or these type of absolute questions, because they happen more often than you think. And you're going to start just being like, people are using this a lot. I can see now what Payam's saying. It does kill conversational flow. It does kind of damper the mood a little bit because everything just freezes because somebody wants to give the perfect answer because you put so much pressure on what their favorite movie is, and now nobody knows what's going on, right? So stay away from absolutes. Practice looking around with others and seeing like, all right, they're using absolute, they're absolute. Just take note of it. That's it. I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to see that as someone like you that's trying to improve in this area, a part of that means you need to start noticing it in others. Like, okay, they're still speaking the same way. I am not. I'm leveling up. I'm not going to be speaking absolutes. And if you're not sure if this advice resonates with you, test it. Test it. Go on a date. Go talk to a friend. Ask them what their favorite X is or what the worst B is for them or whatever, right? Watch how the conversation goes. Some people will give you a quick answer. Some will have to think about it And some will just redirect the question right back to you. The last two kills the conversation. Of course, there's going to be some that are quick-witted, that are fast thinkers, and they know the answer right away. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about everybody else, right? Because you, as somebody that wants to become more confident in communication, your goal, how do I take the pressure off the other person as much as possible from having a dialogue with me? That's the key. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about asking absolutes or anything else regarding my content, do me a favor, comment below. And if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Payam. I talk about communication, confidence, and charisma, mainly for guys. But if you're a woman, you may benefit from some of these tips as well. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you guys soon for the next video. All right. See you later.